Hello and a very warm welcome to the news on Sansad TV. I'm Bhawna Nayar, rounding up all the stories in the next 30 minutes. Our top focus is Bhupendra Patel takes the oath of Chief Minister of Gujarat. Along with, we give updates from the ongoing winter session of the Parliament. Let's begin with the headlines first this Monday evening. Rajya Sabha passes Energy Conservation Amendment Bill 2022. Bill empowers Centre to specify energy consumption standards and require designated consumers to meet a minimum share of energy consumption. On the other, Lok Sabha discusses supplementary demands for grants. 41.5 crore people were freed from poverty in the last 15 years. The government cites United Nations Development Programme report, asserts that many steps are being taken up for the uplift of the poor. Bhupendra Patel sworn in as Chief Minister of Gujarat for second time. Governor also administers oaths to 16 ministers. Prime Minister Modi congratulates new government. UGC launches curriculum and credit framework for undergraduate programs with multiple entry, exit points and re-entry options. Graduation in 3 years and honours degree after 4 years. Retail inflation at 11-month low touches 5.88% in November compared to 6.77% in October. Industrial production continues to decline. And time now for some speed news. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar says India-UAE cooperation not about surviving change but shaping it positively. Government issued 3,58,000 crore rupees under Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme till last month, MOS Finance. Dr. Bhagwat Karat informs Lok Sabha. Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia pays surprise visit to Indira Gandhi International Airport in Delhi, inspects congested areas. No proposal to amend Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016, informs Minister of State for Corporate Affairs and Planning. Rao Inderjeet Singh tells in a written reply tabled in the lower house. UK Trade Secretary Kemi Badenoch meets Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal for the 6th round of free trade agreement discussions between India and UK. Russia cites India Reputation Authority to back permanent UNSC membership. China announces plans to scrap its primary COVID tracking app in the latest rollback of pandemic control measures, just days after abruptly abandoning its long-running zero-COVID policy. Iran executes second prisoner over alleged protest crimes. Protesters challenged the country's theocracy airing footage on state television. It claims showed the executed man stabbing another man. Arrest over alleged corruption at the European Parliament very, very worrisome, says EU's Foreign Policy Chief Josep Borrell. Irish Foreign Affairs Minister informs charges against 4 people were very damaging. An airport in Peru closed after 2 people killed in violent protest, authorities say. Protest over the impeachment of President Pedro Castillo continued in capital Lima. And now, the lead story of the day. BJP leader Bhupendra Patel on Monday took oath as the Chief Minister of Gujarat for a second straight term in Gandhinagar today. Congratulating Patel, Prime Minister Modi said that the Chief Minister and his team will take Gujarat to even newer heights of progress. Patel was administered the oath as the 18th Chief Minister by Governor Acharya Devvrat at a function held at the helipad ground near the new Secretariat. Patel had won the Ghatlodia seat with the highest margin of 1.92 lakh votes in the elections. Sixteen other ministers, including 8 of cabinet rank, were also sworn in. The new entrants include 11 former ministers. The cabinet ministers include Kanu Desai, Rishikesh Patel, Raghvij Patel, Balwant Singh Rajput, Kuvarji Bavariya, Mulu Bera, Kuber Dindor and Bhanuben Bavariya. Harsh Sanghvi and Jagdish Vishwakarma were sworn in as Ministers of State with an independent charge. The grand swearing-in ceremony was attended by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Union Ministers and Chief Ministers of BJP-ruled states. The BJP won a 7th straight term by winning record 156 seats in the 182-member House. And now the Parliament updates. The Parliament on Monday passed a bill seeking to mandate the use of non-fossil energy sources such as biomass, ethanol and green hydrogen. The Energy Conservation Amendment Bill 2022 was cleared in Rajya Sabha by a voice vote. Lok Sabha passed the legislation in the previous session in August this year. Replying to a debate on the bill, Minister of New and Renewable Energy R.K. Singh said that the bill is environment-friendly and will allow carbon trading in the country. He also said the country would achieve over 50% of its power generation capacity from non-fossil fuels by 2030.
भारत ने कहा कि हमारा जो बिजली उत्पादन की जो क्षमता है उसका 40% हम कर देंगे नॉन फॉसिल से बाय 2030। ये बहुत बड़ा एक कमिटमेंट है क्योंकि भारत एक बहुत बड़ा देश है और इसकी ऊर्जा उत्पादन क्षमता भी बहुत है। लेकिन अध्यक्ष महोदय हम लोगों ने कर ही नहीं दिया, हम लोगों ने उसे एक्सीड कर दिया और कर दिया 9 साल पहले। हम लोगों ने कहा था कि ये हम अचीव करेंगे 2030 तक, ये हम लोगों ने अचीव कर लिया 2021 नवंबर तक। जो हमने प्लेज किया था COP21 इन पेरिस इन 2015 दैट बाय 2030 we will reduce the emissions intensity of our economy by 33 to 35% by 2030. Now we've already reduced it by more than 30% already and we are in 22. So again we are a leader. So that's why in renewable energy, in climate change, in clean energy, India is a leader. Undisputed. हमारा कोई बराबरी नहीं कर सकता।
Rajya Sabha Chairman Jagdeep Dhankar clarified in the upper house on Monday that any allegation made on the floor of the House will have to be substantiated by authentic document. He stressed that unauthenticated charges will have consequences. He also called a meeting with leaders of various political parties on the issue.
In this House, we cannot allow any member to give out facts that are not substantiated. And that constitutes a very serious breach of privilege. I am very particular about it, whether it is this side or this side. Anything being spoken in this House cannot be in figure. It has to be indicated with precision, with sanctity, and with ownership. And that is why, to a very distinguished member, where it was not required, I wanted that practice to be there, that if a Chief Minister of a state has sent a communication to the Honorable Prime Minister and details are not made available, that should be on record. That will be shared with the members. So the Honorable Member can make his input. But while making the input, it has not to be a speech. The Honorable Member must focus on actual figures, and I will call upon the Honorable Member to put the relevant record on the table of the House. If the record is not there, I may seek guidance from the honorable members that will be breach of privilege of this House. This House has to be a platform of putting across everything that concerns the public at large. Any expression cannot be controlled here. The only controlling factor is we have to believe in sanctity of the document. A newspaper report, an opinion given by someone is absolutely of no consequence. What I need is legally admissible documentation must be the premise of making an allegation.
Citing the report of the United Nations Development Programme, the government said that between 2005 to 2006 and 2019 to 21, 41.5 crore people in India have been freed from poverty. Statistics and Programme Implementation Minister Rao Inderjeet Singh gave the information to Rajya Sabha in a written reply. He said that according to the Multidimensional Poverty Index 2021 report of Niti Aayog, 25.01% of India's population has been identified as poor. The minister said the government is focusing on inclusive development and has taken many steps for the upliftment of the people living below the poverty line in the country. Lok Sabha took up the discussion on supplementary demands for grants today. On Friday, the government sought Parliament's approval for net additional spending of over rupees 3.25 lakh crore in the current fiscal. Congress leader Shashi Tharoor said that the government is not addressing the root cause by choosing to use SOPs as a temporary solution. Several other opposition members also raised their concerns. Rejecting the opposition's criticism, the ruling party members said that the Indian economy has picked up again after bearing the brunt during the COVID pandemic and the subsequent geopolitical situation. Take a look.
As I pointed out earlier this year, despite the frailties in our medical infrastructure that were exposed by the pandemic, the health sector was originally allocated only 200 crore rupees more this year. Yet again, I must say that the overall decrease after factoring inflation was a long way off from the goal envisaged in the National Health Policy 2017, which had announced that they would spend 2.5% of GDP on health.
कि जो हम लोगों ने खर्चे जो खर्चे बढ़ाए और कई वक्ताओं ने इसके बारे में कहा है कि जो खर्चे थे वो फर्टिलाइजर सब्सिडी में 1 लाख करोड़ और हम लोगों ने खर्च किया, प्रधानमंत्री गरीब कल्याण योजना में हम लोगों ने 80,000 करोड़ और खर्च किया, हम लोगों ने एलपीजी सब्सिडी में और पैसे दिए, हम लोगों ने रेलवेज में निवेश दिया, हमने नरेगा में पैसा दिया। ये सब जो खर्चे थे वो इसलिए थे क्योंकि विश्व में एक माहौल पैदा हुआ, विश्व में एक उथल-पुथल हुआ जहां हम लोगों को अपनी जनता को सुरक्षित रखना था, महंगाई पे अंकुश लगाना था और साथ-साथ विकास में और उत्पादन की बढ़ोतरी में हम लोगों को पूरी तरीके से प्रोत्साहन देना था। और ये हम लोगों ने अपनी नीतियों के द्वारा और इस सप्लीमेंट्री डिमांड फॉर ग्रांट्स के द्वारा हम लोगों ने किया है।
In response to a question on currency devaluation and foreign exchange reserve, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman reiterated that the rupee has been strong among other major currencies. She informed that RBI India's operation in rupees defense have resulted in net sales of $33.42 billion till September 2022.
Indian rupee has been strong against every currency, and that is proved, and I can read the records. As regards just the US dollar, because of the policies adopted by the US Fed, is getting stronger and stronger. That has been explained. Now, as regards the foreign exchange reserve, Reserve Bank has used foreign exchange reserve that it has to intervene in the market only to make sure that the dollar and rupee fluctuation doesn't go too much. In the sense, volatility of that kind of a fluctuation becoming too much can lead to very many different consequences. So foreign exchange reserve to some extent was used by the Reserve Bank. But today you find in the last couple of weeks more reserves, the reserve going up, it's increasing because of the flow of FDIs and FIIs.
Moving on, the University Grants Commission has notified the curriculum and credit framework for undergraduate programs. The new framework will provide students with multiple options for entry and exit, a choice between single, major and double major, and interdisciplinary choice of subjects. The framework has been developed by revising the existing choice-based credit system. According to the program, students will only be able to pursue a 4-year honours degree rather than a 3-year course like the present. Honours degree will also be offered in 2 categories, honours and honours with research. Students who opt to exit after completion of the first year will be awarded a UG certificate. Opting to exit after second year will be awarded the UG diploma. These students are allowed within a period of 3 years and complete the degree program within 7 years. Moving on, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar said on Monday that the countries responsible for global warming need to step up and stop shortchanging the world. He was addressing the India Global Forum UAE Summit focusing on climate finance and technology in Abu Dhabi. He also drew a distinction between two parts of the climate debate. The first is climate action and having the efficiencies in place to have greener growth, and the second tougher part of climate justice. He also highlighted two big divides in the world today, one being the East-West divide centering around Ukraine, and the other is a North-South divide centering around development.
When I look at the return of history and the relationships which will go forward in the coming days, I certainly would rank the India-UAE relationship very high in that. And there are many reasons. So whether we are talking people or whether we are talking business, this country has a particular salience in our perspectives.
And rains continued in many parts of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. The Meteorological Department has predicted more rains till 16th December following the likely formation of a cyclonic storm and low pressure area in the Bay of Bengal. Rains are continuing in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. According to the Meteorological Department, many districts of these states will be cloudy with drizzle. The IMD has issued a yellow alert for Chamrajnagar, Kodagu and Shivmoga districts. Heavy rain has been predicted in these districts, while a holiday has been declared for schools in Tamil Nadu following warnings of heavy rain in some areas, including Kanchipuram, Tiruvalur and Uthukottai taluks. And time now for a quick look at some more news from across the nation. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar spoke on phone with his Canadian counterpart, Melanie Joly, with a focus on possible areas of cooperation between the two countries in the Indo-Pacific. Housing and Urban Development Minister Hardeep Singh Puri told Rajya Sabha on Monday that India will be the world's second largest operator in terms of metro rail services, leaving behind South Korea and Japan. Puri said that the government is serious about promoting public transport, and the length of metro rail in the country is proof of this. He said that at present 824-kilometer long metro services are available in India and work is going on the 1,039-kilometer long metro line. Samajwadi Party leader Dimple Yadav, who was elected to Lok Sabha from Mainpuri last week, Uttar Pradesh, took oath as a member of the House. Yadav greeted leaders of both opposition and treasury benches before taking oath in Hindi. Her husband and Samajwadi Party chief Akhilesh Yadav were seen sitting in the visitors' gallery. Former Bombay High Court Chief Justice Dipankar Datta was administered the oath of office as a Supreme Court judge by Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud. The notification came after 2 months after the Supreme Court Collegium on 26 September recommended his name for elevation. With the swearing in of Justice Datta, the number of judges in the Apex Court has reached to 28 against the sanctioned strength of 34, including the CJI. The Supreme Court adjourned to 9th January the hearing of a petition seeking direction to the centre and states to take stringent steps to control fraudulent religious conversion by intimidation, threatening, deceivingly luring through gifts and monetary benefits. A bench of Justices M.R. Shah and S. Ravindra Bhatt deferred the matter as the Solicitor General Tushar Mehta was not available. Slipping into a very short break here, lots more coming up on the other side. You stay tuned to Sansad TV for more news.
India became free 75 years ago. We all know we have fundamental rights. Do you also know that we have fundamental duties? The duty towards our nation, to abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals and institutions, the national flag and the national anthem.
journey of India's 75 years of independence. Protection of rights, ensuring equality, to empower, to deliver justice. Laws that have defined India and its people. Laws that everyone should know. Watch 75 years. Laws that shaped India. With me, Hemant Batra, only on Sansad TV.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching the news, and there's some good news on the inflation front. Retail inflation eased to an 11th month low in November on softening food prices. According to the NSO data, this is the first time in 11 months that retail inflation has come within the comfort zone of the Reserve Bank of India. Retail inflation based on the Consumer Price Index has come down to 5.88%. It was 6.77% in October 2022 and 4.91% in November last year. Inflation in food articles came down to 4.67% last month from 7.01% in the previous month. Retail inflation rate in December 2021 was 5.66%. Last week, the RBI increased the key policy rate repo by 0.35% to 6.25% to bring inflation under control. Net direct tax collections increased by 24% to Rs 8.77 lakh crore between April and November in the current financial year. According to the Income Tax Department, the net direct tax collection till 30th November stood at Rs 8.77 lakh crore, which is 24.26% higher than the net collection for the same period last year. This collection is 61.79% of the budget estimate for 2022-23. It was estimated in the budget that the direct tax collection in the current financial year will be 14.20 lakh crore. At the same time, refunds worth Rs 2.15 lakh crore were issued between April 1st and November 30th in the current financial year, which is 67% more than the previous year. Moving on, industrial production declined by 4% in October due to a contraction in the country's manufacturing sector and weak growth in mining and energy production. According to the data released by the National Statistics Office, the production of the manufacturing sector has decreased by 4%. In October 2022, this had come down by 5.6%. Mining production grew marginally by 2.5% and electricity generation by 1.2% during the period under review. The index of industrial production had increased by 4.2% in October 2021. And let's take a look now at some more news from across the globe. India has raised concerns over the lack of a timeline for UN reforms and not reflecting the true diversity of the Security Council. India told the United Nations Security Council that the era of categorizing terrorists as bad or good on the basis of political convenience must end immediately. This would undermine the shared global commitment to fight terrorism. India is chairing the 15-member UN Security Council this month. The UNSC meeting will be held on December 14th and 15th under the chairmanship of External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar for signing multilateral reforms and counter-terrorism policy. There will be a ministerial-level discussion in the Security Council on new guidelines for multilateral reform of the signature program. India has issued a concept note ahead of the meeting. On the subject, the note states that terrorism, radicalism, global pandemics, disruptive role of non-state actors and new global challenges have arisen amid the need for a strong multilateral response and quick action platform to ensure peace. It said that the multilateral reform requires reforms in all the pillars of the current multilateral structure: peace, security, development and human rights. India and Sri Lanka have restored air service between Chennai and Jaffna. The service was closed 3 years ago due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Airport and Aviation Services Chairman Upul Dharamdasa said that the first flight landed at the Jaffna International Airport on Monday morning after the resumption of air services. Alliance Air Service aircraft were welcomed at the airport. It carried 14 select passengers, most of whom were officers. Alliance Air is providing 4 flights a week between Jaffna and Chennai. Tourism is a major source of foreign exchange earnings for Sri Lanka. The move is expected to help the cash-strapped tourism sector of the neighboring country. And time to see what's happening in the world of sports. India's captain Rohit Sharma will not be part of the first test against Bangladesh, which starts on Wednesday, as he continues treatment for a thumb injury that he sustained during the second one-day match. Smriti Mandhana sizzled in regulation time as well as the super over to script a famous win for India against Australia in the second women's T20I at Navi Mumbai on Sunday. Australia suffered the first loss of the year. Pakistan come close but ultimately lose Multan Test to England by 26 runs. Home team were chasing a target of 355. England win the two-match series 2-0. England's T20 World Cup winning captain Jos Buttler named ICC Men's Player of the Month for the first time following his stupendous show in November. Reigning world champion Akane Yamaguchi got the better of Tai Su Ying, while men's world number 1 Victor Axelsen dominated Anthony Ginting to win the singles title at the Badminton World Championships. And with that, it's a wrap of today's bulletin. Keep watching Sansad TV for more news and updates, and do share your feedback with us on our social media platforms. Thank you for watching. Good night. Namaskar.